Hi, I'm Becky Sturdy, and I will be your student's linear algebra and the next semester Calculus 3 teacher. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about me, so you know who I am, as well as about the class and dual credit with Moraine Valley. Okay, so this semester we're going to be doing linear algebra, and they will get dual credit as long as they have BC credit from last year from taking the AP exam. If they did not take BC or did not get a BC passing score, they can still take linear algebra with LT and get LT credit, and it's still a great foundation if they take linear algebra then in college. Next semester, we'll be taking Calculus 3, or what's called sometimes multivariable calculus. And this typically will be a class that's actually worth 4 credit hours instead of 3. And again, they can also get dual credit for that. So a little bit about me. I went to Wilson College, which is a super small liberal arts college in Pennsylvania, and majored in math, minor with the computer science, which I actually then did some software programming for a couple of years and then returned to school for my master's in math ed at NIU. And then I started at LT, and I've been here since. Things I like to do around LT besides teach is I help with the math team homemeets, typically with grading. Oddly, I do extra grading for fun. And then I'm also been on the grading practices committees. I also enjoy going to see my students play in sports activities or in theater productions. And then the last couple of years, my linear algebra students have had an intramural soccer team. So I am the pretend coach and I go and cheer them on. Outside of school, I like to take care of my horse, Red, who I got off the racetrack when he was 3. And I also like to listen to podcasts, typically true crime, interesting history. Okay, so about our class. So linear algebra, we have 2 sorts of things going on. We have asynchronous, which is typically what we would have called homework, and then in-class or synchronous work, and that's during our Zoom sessions. The asynchronous work, I usually would like students to make sure they've read the section in the textbook because we don't always have time in class to go over every specific type of example. And the book is actually quite readable for a math book, so students shouldn't mind it too much. And then try every assigned book problem, which is not every problem in the book, and then check their answers on Canvas. There will also be reviews, and once we get close to the end of a unit, on what's called Albert.io, which the students will have access to, and the links will be posted on Canvas. And this is a great website, similar to what they might have used last year with Delta Math, except it actually offers college courses like linear algebra in Calc 3, and has practice questions, including multiple choice and free response type, and it gives them feedback in case they got the problem wrong. In class, we usually have an opener that might be a review question or an interesting problem that might lead us into that day's notes. We'll go over any questions they have on the previous day's notes and homework problems. We'll take some new notes on a new section, new concepts, and do some practice, whether it's individual or group, kind of just depends on that unit. Sometimes we'll do it as a whole group. Sometimes I'll have them in breakout rooms and then come back and present their solutions. All right, grading is always a big question. So we do formatives first that will be typically smaller on specific concepts and topics, and they might be students submitting problems to me that they've worked on either in class or outside of class. There'll be Canvas quizzes. There'll be reviews, again, like I said, on Albert.io, but none of these will count towards their final semester grade. This is their practice and time and a chance for me to give them feedback on how they're doing. Then we'll have a summative assessments, which is typically what we would have called a unit test. And this will be something that they cannot retake because that is part of Moraine Valley's policy in order to get dual credit. And in order for students to get credit for the class through them for college, we cannot allow retakes, which is why we do lots of extra practice and formatives beforehand so the students are fully prepared for those college level tests. And typically in a semester, we'll have 4 unit tests, and then there'll be a final exam. So if we're going to be successful in linear algebra, and I expect all my students to be successful, I expect them to be prepared. Of course, that means they might have to read the textbook, They might have to try extra problems if there's something they don't understand. The book actually has specific practice problems within a section with solutions that they can try before even using it for the textbook problems that I've assigned. They should check their answers on Canvas and then come prepared to ask questions on any of those problems. They can also email me their questions before class in case they want something answered before we actually meet over Zoom. Okay, our Canvas page will have kind of a calendar that has what we're doing in class as well as what we're expected to do outside of class. There will be links to any sorts of online reviews like on Algebra when we get to that. There'll be links to formatives as well as a place for them to submit their work. Now, how they submit their work, they can actually use an app from Canvas on their phone. And they can utilize either CamScan, the notes option on their phone, other types of apps that allow them to scan their work and send it to me as a PDF. And in that case, I can actually write or type some feedback right on there and get it back to them so they know how they're doing. Algebra, and this is kind of a screenshot of what that might look like. And it will have different assignments, usually reviews, and then I can actually see the specific problems students struggled with, and we can actually go over those specific problems then in class. We'll also use Desmos, which students are probably familiar with from last year in calculus, which is a graphing site that also has activities. Padlet is a great site we use to do some group work because I can pose a question and students can each answer and we can group their answers together. And then there's a site called Transferology that you can actually use to help decide if the Moraine Valley dual credit will transfer to a college or university of choice. So speaking of dual credit, it's not the same as AP because AP requires one exam at the end of a year, and that's whether or not the student gets credit. Dual credit is more like an actual college class just taught at high school by a qualified instructor, which they decided I was because I have a master's in math. And I then follow actually Moraine Valley's syllabus. And their final exam either is a common final exam with Moraine Valley or mine will get approved by those instructors. So it is actually a college course, just happens to be taught in their high school so they don't have to drive to the college to take it. They can choose to have their transcripts from Moraine Valley then sent to their college or university they decide to go to. If they're not sure if the college they're looking at is going to take the credit, they can contact Moraine Valley directly. There's actually a link and an email address on their site under the dual credit or early college section. Or as I mentioned, there is a website. It's not all inclusive, so not every school might be represented, but it's a good start on what classes will transfer or how they transfer. I have had students say that the credits themselves did not transfer, but it actually did help them in placement into a higher level math course once they got to their four-year school. Now, if students need extra help, they can always let me know outside of class by email or in class when we're during our Zoom session, either by using the microphone, of course, or they can even just send it through the chat. And if they want to schedule extra help, either before or after class, they can let me know. And typically before a unit test, I will plan an extra Zoom session for kids to just kind of drop in and ask questions, similar as if we were in school and they could drop by my classroom and ask things. I also highly recommend they put together study groups, even if of course they're all virtual, because similar to college, you usually would get a study group of your friends and classmates and you would help each other with the homework problems and bounce ideas off each other. And that's always super helpful as well, since this is sort of a college class just at the high school. So what we want to do is not just have them get credit, but also get prepared to take a rigorous math course at college. Now, Moraine Valley will have a separate sign up for Calc 3 in January. So signing up for linear algebra now for dual credit does not automatically put them in for Calc 3. So that will come up in January and you'll get emails and reminders and how to register for that. So if you have any questions for me, whether it's about the course or Moraine Valley's credit, or if their school will take their credit if they're looking at different colleges and universities, I can try and help you out, or maybe even just direct you to someone at Moraine Valley that knows about the admissions process at different schools. I do recommend that all students keep track of our syllabus. It is on our Canvas page, so that's a great place to go if you've got questions, and they should save that because some schools just ask for a syllabus to be sent to them in order to obtain credit. So thanks for watching my video, and I hope to see everybody in person soon.